Good morning. This is Caroline Goslin from the In Quest of Better podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss all things real estate and how we can help agents have a better life and a better business. And today we have Sheila Fejeran and Teresa Grobecker from Consortia as our guests. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
Great. Welcome. So I guess it's kind of dig right in. I'd like to welcome the audience to the future of real estate because essentially this is what you guys are doing. You're bringing real estate onto the blockchain. Real estate being the largest asset class in America, and so before we kind of launch into that. Can you tell us a little bit about how each of you came to this space?
So I'll jump in. My name is Teresa. Thank you so much for having me here. I started the first online real estate brokerage in San Francisco a decade ago, and along the way created my first blockchain company where I had to read all of Dodd-Frank. And around 2 to 4 in the morning, I came across a clause that said, for every asset that a bank or lender owns, there must be a ledger. And I thought, oh, well, that's easy. That's blockchain. So filed for the patent, all things blockchain, non-fungible tokens, and real estate back in 2018, and was shoved in front of Bob Goldberg, who's the CEO of the National Association of Realtors. And he said, you're ours. And I said, fair. Like, I made it for the industry. Went through the accelerator that NAR has through Second Century Ventures in 2019. And there was like this thing that happened in the world. So put the project on hold for a couple of years. During that time, the technology of blockchain advanced, and so did our understanding of non-fungible tokens, right? We're all able to say NFTs now. And then in the last year, we've really just taken off. We work with Fannie, Freddie, the US Treasury Reserve banks, governments, states, countries. So it's pretty cool. Met Sheila along the way, and just the company grew up and became an adult. It grew up, and we have adult supervision, as I say, as soon as Sheila joined. So I'll stop talking. Sheila's far more accomplished than me. So,
well, I'm excited to be here. I'm Sheila Fejeran, and I cannot say how grateful I am to work with this woman every day. She's probably or closest to the most brilliant woman I've ever met. And she humbly doesn't talk about the fact that she has just about every license there is as well. She is an SEC regulated investment banker. She's also a real estate broker and a mortgage broker. So when I met her, it obviously caught my attention because of all of her accolades and just who she was as a person. I had been studying on the other side of blockchain, the cryptocurrency and the global economy, macroeconomics for years, because I just saw the way of the world. I mean, really, blockchain's Web 3.0, right? It's just the next iteration of the internet. And so I saw it coming, and I'm like, I have to figure out how to get in front of this before it all, happens. And that's when I met Teresa, and I'm like, oh my gosh, not only does she bring all of the abilities from every side of the industry with her, the other thing I really appreciated about her is that because of being an investment banker, she comes from the compliance side of it. I'm a broker, so I look at legal all the time. And one of the biggest things that really caught my attention with her was that, I was hearing about people in the industry selling homes as NFTs. And I'm like, okay, is this even legal? And when I realized what Teresa was saying is that, the laws haven't been written yet. The SEC hasn't, the rules haven't come down yet. But when you look at how people have been doing it, they've actually been breaking the laws. They actually have not been following what the current SEC guidelines are. And so that's really what made me want to hang on and work with Teresa, is that I want someone who knows the laws, who follows the laws, who doesn't get anywhere close to the line of potentially breaking the law, because I want all of us as individual agents and as an industry to make sure we move to this next space in a way that is, we're not going to wind up in orange jumpsuits, as Teresa says.
Right. With integrity.
With integrity, exactly.
Well, so thank you for that. So why don't you just kind of dumb it down for us? From a consumer's point of view, but also from an agent's point of view, what does it mean to put real estate on the blockchain?
So this is going to be on my tombstone. What I always say is blockchain is nothing more than a spreadsheet. Anxiety gone, deep breath, right? We've all used a spreadsheet. Sometimes we share spreadsheets. Sometimes we let other people write in our spreadsheets, say, hey, collaborate with me. Other times we say, don't touch my spreadsheet. The computations are perfect. I've done the math. You can view my spreadsheet and we can share and you can see. So that's all this is. It's a spreadsheet. You can write onto it if you have permission. You can view it if you have permission. You can share with others, permissions-based, invitation-based.
And what makes this spreadsheet the spreadsheet?
Deep breath. This is the one, because of compliance, like Sheila said, that is being adopted by governments, right? Like it has the most credibility with banks. We are not a crypto. I hate crypto. I own crypto, right, in my portfolio, and it sucks right now. We decided not to go the route of crypto. And I think that's a huge differentiating fact between us and like everybody else in the space. All jokes aside, it is the grown-up version of blockchain because we understand all of the laws. So I think that's why this is being adopted as the spreadsheet.
Okay. Because, it on your website, in doing a bit of research, you claim to be doing the democratization of data. But, data is everywhere. Like you can Google things and, Google county records, et cetera. But I think what's different here and what consumers and agents need to understand is that this is kind of data and a spreadsheet, which along the line are getting stamps of approval so that there is no doubt as to where things stand, and that that you're selling a property with integrity and a clean slate.
Sure.
So
think about this.
Yeah.
Think about the current process. You're an agent. You work with a buyer or a seller. Then you have a mortgage company involved. Then you have a title company involved. Then you have a home inspection company involved. Then you have an appraiser involved. Then you have county records involved. You have a lot of people involved, and that's just some of the people involved in a real estate transaction. They all have their own store of data, and most of them don't share all of that data. So what we are building, the easiest way to describe what we're building is Carfax for homes. Mm-hmm. We're literally building Carfax for homes. So ultimately, when all of this becomes live, we've got a lot of the process dialed in and we're working towards this. We have a lot of the players dialed in. But ultimately, imagine this. You as a buyer can look at a property based on your permission. If you put in an offer on that property, you'll be able to see the condition of the property, the past records of the property, the title information about the property. You'll be able to see if they had foundation work done. You'll see how old the roof is. You'll literally, Teresa jokes about Roto-Rooter, but you'll be able to see it's true transparency. We're bringing true transparency to the industry. It's no more that, did the seller disclosure that get filled out true? Or was it true, lie, true, true? How much of that seller's disclosure is true? Well, if you have verifiable data, meaning I have the record from the roofing company, I have the record from the plumbing company or the foundation company, I have all the pictures from the home inspector, I have the appraisal data, I have every single other company involved in letting us know the condition or the structure of that property, I have a whole lot better shot at knowing if that asset is something I want to purchase. Right. So we're bringing not only better consumer protection because the consumers will know what they're actually buying, we're bringing more protection for the lenders, for the agents involved. Wouldn't you love to not be sued anymore over a seller's disclosure from 10 years ago that somebody lied about something? And just silly stuff that we get involved with that we don't have to go through anymore if we bring it all into one immutable ledger on the blockchain. And then those people that have the rights to view or the permissions to view have the ability to see the data they need to see. How powerful is that?
Absolutely. And so who are the players who have, access to the data and can give access to the data?
So we we work with the general counsels from the largest financial title capital markets firms in the world. So they have given us the criteria of what kind of data can be input. So everything is SOC 2 level 1 or SOC 2 type 2 data that comes in from companies that are authorized at that level. Joe's Title Shack doesn't get to write into the code. They have to have an underwriter that we approve, or we have through our title relationships, we can get them the title underwriting work that they can use to put onto blockchain, for example. The other ones are institutional level accounts from trusted counterparties, trusted firms in the real estate space. I think that really speaks to the incredible prowess and relationships that come with being part of the National Association portfolio of companies. So it's who are the friends and family inside this portfolio of company. Another big criteria for us are working with companies that are already approved with Fannie and Freddie, that they have products in the market that have been approved. And then for ingesting this data, we know that these are major banks. So it's the largest banks in the country. It's the aggregators of loans as well, or the underwriters in capital markets. So people really have to meet a high threshold to be able to see this data. Also, we're willing to accept data from agents and brokers, because agents and brokers are licensed and they're insured, right? So we know that there's a contractual relationship that they have with the client. So the information that they give us, they can attest to. And we have all kinds of legal, of course, policies like you are who you say you are, you agree to do no harm, right? We're here to do good for the industry. So at the end of the day, it comes down to people and trusting the people who come into Consortia.
Yep. No, that makes a lot of sense. So, you have a course, a blockchain certification course. And well, just to kind of back up for a second. So you've been zigzagging the US, going from conference to stage to stage to stage to stage. What would you say is kind of the general feeling? What are some of the questions that you're getting the most, on your road tours? Are people really grasping what this is?
Yeah, so on the road constantly. I'm in some city right now. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what city are we in today, right? So it's quite an honor and a fiduciary duty to be having these conversations and to be educating people. If I had my druthers, I'd just be selling $300,000 homes and doing mortgages, but that's not my responsibility in the industry. I still do produce. The questions that we get a lot, in fact, the last call we were just on, there was the head of the largest MLS in the country. And I work very closely with him, but it was expressed to me that a few months ago, and I knew this from 2018, 2019, from jumping off into this world, the MLSs were concerned, does Consortia want to be an MLS? We have no interest in that. None. Nothing that the MLS has any impact on us. The MLS has maintained pristine records about property records. And actually, we go and advocate on behalf of organized real estate to Fannie and Freddie and to the governments and say, no. Listen to what they have to say, right? Because my firm belief is the financial backbone of this country, and then every other economic institution that layers on top of it is tied to the largest asset class in the world, which is real estate, United States real estate. Everyone has touched the MLS or the impact of the MLS on our global economic society. So I am very passionate about that. I think from there also is, does Consortia want to obviate the Realtor? No, we don't want to get rid of the Realtor. We are tied in. It's been a pain in the ass building the code to an agent. You're building an immutable ledger for humans whose photos changes, their firms change, their phone numbers change, right? Like you've got humans do what humans do, and we change all the time. And you've got this asset that's always planned into this piece of property unless it burns down, right? Or it's, demolished and a new one's put up. So that's been tricky, but we work through it. So Sheila, I speak nerd, Sheila speaks human. So Sheila, maybe she hears different questions than I hear out there in the market.
I think it's a lot of what you're saying and a lot of what you're hearing from your group that we're going to be speaking with is, what is this? Why should I care? How is this going to impact my business? And what does this mean for the future of real estate? Those, people right now are still in that basic questioning mode.
Right.
Because no one has ever done this before. I mean, literally, Teresa and I are writing the code for the future. So it's so hard for people who aren't visionaries or who don't understand the space or who haven't at least dabbled in blockchain or crypto or something having to do with this conversation. It's just very hard. The other thing that we get all the time is they say, "Oh, yes, I'm very involved in blockchain. What do you think about Bitcoin?" We get that a lot where people don't understand that blockchain has nothing to do with crypto.
Right.
And just not understanding the blockchain. So Consortia is the plumbing. We are the foundation. We are the internet of the future. And then on the internet, think about this, you have Amazon and Google and all these companies, right, that you can find on the internet, but the internet's the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's Consortia. So yeah, you're going to have crypto on Consortia, on the blockchain. You're going to have other industries built on the blockchain. You actually have a lot of companies right now, in the slide deck we'll show at the event. There are a lot of companies already involved in the blockchain in many industries at a very high scale. It's just not public knowledge. So it's not like just us in real estate are moving towards this. Every industry, every asset class in the world is moving to blockchain. The whole world is moving to blockchain. It's just that we have to try to help people along who don't have a knowledge to bring them up to speed of what's coming and to prepare for it.
Right. And go ahead, Teresa.
Sorry, I forget. Sheila does bring up great points, like the what's in it for me. Yep. So I made a prediction that was in the top fold of Inman front page, like what was it, 2-3 months ago now? And it's from the information that I get from the family offices that have vetted us and then put us into the financial institutions. I'm as a licensed investment banker. Okay. So I made a prediction or shared information. It's not even really a prediction, right? I said FedCoin will be announced and it'll roll out between the next 12 to 15 months. 2 weeks ago, get a text message that Chase notified Blackstone, our business partners, or their consortium of companies, right, that they're ready to click over to this. And within minutes, I got 2 more texts from family offices saying that FedCoin was announced. It's called FedNow. So for the agents who are like, this is so far off in the future. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can think that, right? But Chase contacted us in 2018 and said, how do we settle our mortgages instantly on your rails? Just do that. The head of the Treasury Department, right? I'm a nobody. I'm still a nobody. Like that tells you that they want to settle as quickly as possible. And what we're working on with the financial institutions is how do you close a loan in 7 days? How do you close escrow in 7 days, you guys, with a mortgage? So the only way to do this is using blockchain technology to do all the underwriting, to be with our partners, right? So if you're an agent and you're trying to compete with Opendoor and Zillow, no shot, right? No shot against the iBuyers who can settle in cash the next day. Right. So if you want a place at the table, if you want to be in this profession, and this is what I said like 6 years ago to the San Francisco Managers Council. I said, if we don't get in front of this technology, there is no Managers Council. There is no industry in 20, 30 years when my sons become of age, right? They've grown up in real estate. I hope they do something better than me that's far more interesting. But like, truth is, there's nothing here for us as an industry. So how do we future-proof that? So if you want to be able to understand if the banks want to close instantly and they have everything on blockchain, how do you future-proof your book of business so that you know what the conversation is so you can explain it to your clients? This is how we're going to go through this transaction. This is how I list your house. This is how we're going to buy your house. You've got to be trained on this, I think, if you want to survive in this industry.
Yeah, that's very important. And that's why we're having you attend the Quest conference, because I think that agents really, they do think that this is so far down the road. And I have to say, like, even myself, like seeing this, like seeing Sheila every couple of months at different conferences, it's like, it's a whole new set of questions every time, and it's moving at warp speed. And it's exciting. It's also overwhelming. So I do appreciate you both coming on today and kind of giving us a little bit of an introduction as to, what we need to know and what we need to keep an eye out on. And I really applaud you guys for being at the forefront of this and bringing it bringing it into the fold of the real estate industry and partnering with the National Association of Realtors to really educate, us so that we remain in the game and we don't become irrelevant in what we do. So, any last thoughts that you want to share before we see each other live on October 1st?
I will say that it's overwhelming. If you spent 10 seconds in my brain, you'd opt out. You'd be like, I gotta go. And I'll say that it is overwhelming, but it's not insurmountable.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're here, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're going to be attending the Quest conference, you are part of the future because you're listening. And so it's not too late. Don't feel like all hope is lost. Like you're ahead of most. Just the fact that you're listening to this and you're like, oh, what's this topic? Let me open up this link. So this is a we conversation. This is not a me. And so much attention has been on me and Consortia all these years. That's not what this is about. This is we're building the ecosystem together. So I think that's what gets me out of bed is all the people who are coming to the table on this project. I get goosebumps and I'm just so grateful.
I love it. Well, thank you both so much for your time. Teresa, we'll let you go back to your Vegas conference, and Sheila, we'll let you rest up from your surgery. But thank you so much, and I really look forward to kind of bringing this to my market on October 1st and really educating my colleagues on the future of real estate. So
you're amazing. Thank you.
Great. Bye-bye.